You're on the best of the Morning X. Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. 99X.
All right, file this one under strange. We right now are on the phone with a gentleman by the name of Sean Dix, who is calling us from the ACDC. This is the Atlanta Correctional Detention Center. Sean Dix's picture is on the... No doubt. Sean Dix's picture is on the cover of the December 30th issue of Creative Loafing, and the headline is, "Did this man really want to kill Ted Turner?" Now, this story is strange. Sean is not a career criminal by any stretch of the imagination. I believe never... Did you had any criminal record prior to this?
No.
You had... Let's tell this story. You had an invention, and describe what this invention was.
It was called floss rings.
Okay.
And sterilized floss segments. And they work together sort of like the razor and the razor blades.
So, yeah, what do you mean?
Well, you load a piece of floss into these two rings, and you can floss without cutting off the circulation to your fingers. And the sterilized floss segments would actually be the first sterilized floss, because right now no dental floss is sterilized.
So it was an easier way for a person to floss their teeth.
Yes, and it's now been clinically proven.
Right. I love the idea because the floss slips out of my fingers every time I...
When did you...
I hate wrapping. I hate waste. First of all, you waste a lot of the floss when you do that, and then I hate that.
Yeah, and it hit the market when?
Actually, in the ending of '95, the beginning of '96.
You had to deal with what? With CVS?
Right.
Right. Yeah, they had paid you some money, and you
we just got it on the store shelves. It was really only there about maybe 3 weeks, and it started to sell, and that's approximately when the CNN piece aired.
And you had investors and all this in this company of yours.
Well, actually, we had a news piece done on Bloomberg News Radio, about 2 or 3 weeks before the CNN piece, and that it was an accurate story, and it generated quite a bit of interest.
So CNN calls you; they want to do a story on you.
You had sunk a bunch of money of your own, right, from your dad. Your dad had left you some money, and you had sunk it all into this project.
Yes.
Okay.
Things were on a roll.
They were moving in the right direction. Yes.
Right.
And then CNN comes along. They want to do a piece on you. Jeannie Mose, who does a lot of quirky kind of feature kicker type pieces. They call you. They want to do a piece on this.
Right.
And what happens there?
Well, I met with them, and at the time I first met with Linda Deregian, and I did not know that Jeannie Mose was going to be doing the piece. I met with Linda Deregian, and she filmed the first half of the piece. And when they had completed it, they said they needed to take it to some dentists to get an unbiased opinion.
Okay, it was like a feature on your new invention.
Right.
All right.
And
so
they also knew at that time that in 2 weeks, or actually from the time that they aired it, they knew that it was going into the National Museum of Dentistry. So at the time that they aired it, they knew that this was a positive product. It was going to be going into a museum.
A legitimate product.
Right, a legitimate product.
Okay. And so they air this piece. They take it to the two dentists.
Right. And basically what you see during the piece is that the dentists cannot use the product properly. And they say that, they don't see it going anywhere. It doesn't work. It's awkward. And they basically pan the product.
Okay.
They're just jealous because they didn't think of it.
Well, wait. They panned the product. Why? I mean...
Well, they said that it was awkward. It didn't work.
Okay.
They didn't see it sweeping the... Actually, Linda Deregian asked them, so you don't see the sweeping the nation after they tell them that they're following the package instructions and they still cannot, get it to work. Now, I called the dentist out of sheer curiosity about a month later because, the media has the right to pass opinion on a product if they want to, but they certainly don't have the right to manufacture a piece so that it comes across negative. And that's exactly what they did.
Didn't someone deem your piece worth about $50 million?
Yeah, I actually have the former worldwide director of licensing and acquisitions from Johnson & Johnson who has retired and is now my consultant, who believes that it's worth that conservatively.
Now, okay, so at this point, though, they take it to the dentist, and, the dentist can't, for whatever, they're having trouble with it.
Right.
And you just said, what happened? You said you called...
so far, that's fair. I mean,
But he said he called the dentist. I want to find out what the dentist said when you called them directly.
Well, when I called, I got a hold of Dr. Iskakis, and he basically, I just asked him out of curiosity, I'm watching the piece, and I see that you have 18 inches of floss. and you're not supposed to use that much. I mean, you cannot use a product with more than 5 inches. And I'm curious, how did that happen? And he said that Linda Deregian instructed him to use 18 inches and that he did not have a package, so he had no way of knowing how much to use.
So in other words, he was using it and he had been instructed to use it incorrectly.
The wrong way.
Yes.
So
and at that, I was not prepared to hear that. So I said, let me call you back. And at that point, I connected my camcorder to the telephone, and I called him back. And he described in another conversation, no less than 8 times, that they basically did not give him a package. He was not prepped at all. I mean, he went through the whole situation, and it's extremely obvious that they basically instructed him to use the product improperly, filmed him using it improperly, and then aired it.
Okay, so right now, let's because it's a very involved story and it's a bizarre story,
Sure.
and so far we've got just 2 dentists using dental floss incorrectly, and while you're sitting in federal prison.
Right.
So big deal. So they used it incorrectly. What was the result of this? I mean, what was the problem?
The immediate fallout after that was, I mean, if you can imagine, calling everyone friends, family, people who were, interested in investing, potential, product broker. I had my whole product broker network, sales force, all of the, the manufacturers. I mean, all the retailers. You basically call everyone when you're going to be on television. You think that they're going to do a positive story, and basically after that, within 2 weeks, my entire sales force resigned.
Well, this shows you how powerful the media is. I mean, they see that story and think, they write it off. Oh well, if a dentist says it's not good enough, then.
Sure.
So people, your investors see these 2 dentists fumbling and bumbling around with your invention,
right, and
they get scared and say, you know what, maybe this is a bad investment.
Sure. They realize that there's a lot of weight behind those remarks.
Okay. And they drop out. I'm just trying to move this along. So
right, sure. The retailers, I mean, I had gone all over the country, and basically they would not return my phone calls. It was just after that, it was like the phone went dead.
This segment's not even close to being over. You don't want to miss part 2 coming up next. This is the best of the Morning X on 99X.